Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Dr. Rabia, Assistant Professor of Botany at University of Education Lahore. I am a co-teacher of Plant Anatomy, Systematics and Development with the subject code BOTN 1112. Today I am going to deliver lecture number 36, that is about structure and development of anther. In this lecture, I will tell you about stamen, structure of anther, structure of microsporangium or pollen sac, shapes of pollen grains, microgenesis, and the development of anther. The stamen. Stamen in a flower consists of two parts. Number 1, the filament. Number 2, the anther. The filament is a long, narrow stalk-like structure, while the anther is a broader knob-like structure. The proximal end of the filament is attached to the thalamus or the petal of the flower. The number and length of stamen vary in different species. So a stamen consists of two parts, anther and the filament. Anther and the filament are collectively known as the stamen, and stamen is the male reproductive part of the flower. Structure of anther. A normal biaxious or diaxious anther is made up of two anther lobes. So a anther that made up of two anther lobe is known as the biaxious or the diaxious anther. Anther lobes are connected by a strip of sterile part called the connectives. Anther lobes have four elongated cavities known as the pollen sacs or the microsporangia. So an anther consists of the connective and the pollen sacs. In the diagram you can see the dorsal view and the ventral view of the anther. So anther comprised of connective and a filament. And there are pollen sacs. The four sac-like structures are present in the anther that are known as the pollen sacs that contain the pollen grains. Pollen sacs are also known as the microsporangia. These are the elongated cavities that are present on the anther lobes. Structure of microsporangium or the pollen sac. The transverse section of anther shows the presence of outermost epidermis. So epidermis is the outermost layer of the anther in the transverse section. Endothecium. The outermost wall layer lying just below the epidermis is called the endothecium or the fibrous layer. So the layer just beneath the epidermis is known as the endothecium or the fibrous layer. Below the endothecium there are about 1 to 3 middle layers of parenchyma cells. So the layer next to the endothecium are made up of parenchymatous cells. Pollen sacs. Structure in the anther of seed plants that produce pollen grain. So the pollen sacs are the structure that contain the pollens or the pollen grains. So the pollen sacs function is to produce the pollen grains. There can be 4 pollen sacs in each anther of the angiosperm. So in angiosperm the anther comprised of 4 pollen sacs that contain the pollen grains or the pollen. In the diagram you can clearly see the pollen sacs that contain the pollen grains and the lines of dehiscence are clearly seen. So this is the structure of the pollen grain or the pollen sacs. Tapetum. The cells of innermost wall layers are readily elongated and rich in protoplasmic contents. This layer is called tapetum. So tapetum is the innermost layer that have rich protoplasm. The tapetum play an important role to provide nourishment to the developing microspores. It provides nutrition to the developing microspores. The cells of tapetum may be multinucleate or may have large polyploid nucleus. The tapetal cells provide nourishment to young microspore mother cell either by forming a plasmodium or through diffusion or parietal or the secretory type. So the tapetum cell provide nourishment through the formation of plasmodium or through the diffusion process. The pollen sac wall encloses a number of archisporial cells that further forms microspore mother cells. So the function of the archisporial cell is to form the microspore mother cells from the pollen sacs. The microspore mother cells are also known as the microsporocytes. In the beginning, microspore mother cells are polygonal in shape and closely packed. So they are polygonal in shape and very closely to each other. But as the anther enlarges, the pollen sacs become spacious and get loosely arranged. A few microspore mother cells become non-functional. When the microspore mother cells loosely arranged, then few of the microspore mother cells become non-functional and are finally absorbed by developing microspores. Here in this diagram you can see the microsporogenesis and the microgametogenesis. For example, in the first phase you can see the microsporocyte that contain the callose wall, a diploid nucleus, then the nucleus divide into two, and then the nucleus divide into the four after second meiosis, and then the tetrad formation or the microspore formation take place. When the second meiotic division takes place, the haploid nucleus are formed. Released then from the tetrad, the microspores are released that are contain the microspore nucleus. They have polarized microspore, mean they have a vacuole. Then in the pollen sac, pollen mitosis take place, and then a vegetative nucleus form and a generative nucleus form. After that, second mitosis division take place and the bicellular pollen and the tricellular pollens are formed that contain the vegetative nucleus and the sperm cells. During microsporogenesis, the nucleus of each microspore mother cells undergo meiosis and give rise to four haploid nuclei or the tetrad. So what happened during the microsporogenesis? The nucleus of each microspore mother cell divided into four haploid cells with the help of reduction division or the meiotic division. These four nuclei are arranged in a tetrahedral manner, forming tetrahedral tetrads. So tetrad formation take place. The four microspore separate from each other and each develops a characteristic shape or form which differ in different species of plants. So the pollen grains have different shapes in different species of the plants. Structure of microspore or the pollen grain. Pollen grains develop from the diploid microspore mother cells in pollen sacs of anthers. Typically, pollen grain is a haploid unicellular body with a single nucleus. So, pollen grain is a haploid structure with single nucleus. Pollen grains are generally spherical. Mostly they are spherical in shape and about 25 to 30 micrometer in diameter. The outer surface of microspores have spines, ridges or furrows, which may vary in other ways in different species. So we can say that pollen grain can also be used to classify the different plants. So it is the characteristics based upon the shape of the pollen grain. We can divide the different species of the plants because sometimes they have spines, sometimes they have ridges, or sometimes they have the furrows. Shapes of pollen grains. Pollen grain may be oval, ellipsoidal, triangular, lobed, or even crescent shaped pollen grain. So basically there are 5 different shapes of the pollen grain, that are oval, ellipsoidal, triangular, lobed, or even crescent shaped. Most, but certainly not all, are spherical. It means that most of the pollen grains are spherical in shape, but it is not true for every species of the plant. Pollen grains of pines, firs, and spruces are winged. So we can say that the gymnosperm have the winged pollen grains. The smallest pollen grain is about 6 micrometer in diameter. Here in this diagram you can see the different shapes of the pollen grains. Some are irregular, some are spherical, some are rigid, some have the furrows, some are oval in shape. So the different shapes of pollen grains are present in different species of the plants. Structure of pollen grain. The cytoplasm is surrounded by a two-layered wall. The outer layer is exine, is thick and sculptured or smooth. It means the outer layer of the pollen grain is known as exine and it is thick or sometimes smooth. It is cutillarized and the cuten is of special type called the sporopollenin. Sporopollenin is a cuten of the pollen grain which is resistant to chemical and biological decomposition. In insect pollinated pollen grains, the exine is covered by a yellowish, viscous and sticky substance called the pollen kit. In this diagram you can see the structure of the pollen grain. It has a generative nucleus, later form the two male gametes, a pollen tube nucleus. The outer wall is called the exine, which is thick outer sculptured wall. The inner thin wall known as the intine. So exine and intine are the two walls of the pollen grains. It also contains the germ pod, generative cell, generative nucleus and the vegetative nucleus. Here you can see the young pollen grain that have a haploid nucleus. Then after mitosis, one nucleus divided into two, that it become mature pollen grain. It contains the generative nucleus, tube nucleus and then the exine and intine formation take place. Pollen grains are well preserved as fossils because of the presence of sporopollenin. At certain places, the exine remains thin. So the pollen grains are also present in the form of fossils. The thin areas are known as the germ pores when they are circular in outline and germ furrows when they are elongated. So they are circular in form and germ furrow and germ like when furrows when they are elongated. The cytoplasm is rich in starch and unsaturated oils. Uninucleate protoplast becomes 2 to 3 celled at the later stage of the development. Palynology. The branch of study of pollen grain is called the palynology. So the branch that study the pollen grains is known as the palynology. Pollinium. In calotropis and orchids, the pollen of each anther lobes form a characteristic mass called the pollinium. Cortical. Each pollinium is provided with a stalk-like structure that is called the cortical. Corpusculum and a sticky base called disc or corpusculum. Anther are two-lobed and are attached to the filament either at the base or in the middle area of the anther. So the anther are two-lobed, they are attached to the filament either at the base or in the middle area of the anther. The central cells of the anther, the pollen mother cells, myocytes, differentiate and become selectively isolated from the mother plant through callose secretion by the myocyte cytoplasm. The pollen mother cells undergo meiosis to form the tetrad. The uninucleate young microspores are released from the tetrad At the vacuolated stage, the microspore undergo an asymmetric division called the pollen mitosis 1 to produce the vegetative and generative nucleus. Microspore then develop into the male gametophyte. In this diagram, you can see the different stages of development of anther and the cross section. Here you can see that the sepals and the petals are formed at the apex. There are two phases, phase 1 and the phase 2. In phase 1, cell specification, tissue differentiation, meiosis and spore formation take place. While in the phase 2, pollen grain and the sperm cell differentiate, anther enlargement and filament extension, tissue degeneration, dehiscence and pollen release or the release of the pollen take place. So stage 1, the pre-semen stage, where the sepal and the petals are there, then sepals, petals, stamen and carpels are formed. In the second phase, you can see that stage +1, the stage +1, there is a theca, tetrad, spomium, circular cell cluster, endothecium, epidermis, pollen sac are there. C are the connectives and V are the vascular bundles. Then the pollen grain formation take place, and after the dehiscence, pollens are released from the pollen sacs. It contains the epidermis, stomium. The stomium are the structure are the gap or the pore-like structure present in the pollen wall. So from where the pollen grains are released after the dehiscence. That is the last stage of the anther development. So in this lecture, I have told you about what is anther, what is pollen grain, and how the development of the anther take place, or how meiosis and the mitosis play an important role in the formation of anther. And then the last phase is the dehiscence of the pollen grains, or the release of the pollen grain from the pollen sacs, that later on the pollination take place and the cycles continues. So it is all about the development of the anther in the angiosperms. So students, I hope you have understand the all of the lecture very clearly, and see you next time in the next lecture. Take care. Allah Hafiz.